The Mariners take care of business against the Angels, and Mike Trout departs early. Dodgers extend their win streak as Tony Gonsolin makes his season debut. The O's get a much-needed series victory at home against the Yankees, and the Arizona Diamondbacks hold on late in Queens against the Mets. MLB Game Night. Every game, every night is now underway.
When that final out is made, you know it's time for Locked On MLB Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. Prepare to experience game day reactions like never before. Only on Locked On MLB Game Night. Your team every day.
He is John Frisch, host with his brother Mike on Locked On Angels, #1 Los Angeles podcast out there. And you can follow John on the X, formerly known as Twitter, at Super Halos Bros. I'm Steve Lenox, host of the Locked On Red Sox postcast. Red Sox with a tough loss on Wednesday night against the Blue Jays north of the border. We get into that and plenty more. You can follow me on the X at Lenox on baseball. This episode of the Locked On MLB Game Night presented by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off on your first year. And, John, we're going to get right into it with the Angels and Mariners. Mariners taking the series finale 9-3. Let's hear from Todd Gonzalez. He is our Locked On Mariners expert, and he's got perspective on the M's win before we get into the Angels side.
Ball and play, good things tend to happen. This is Todd Gonzalez, host of the Locked On Mariners podcast here. Mariners beat the Angels 9-3 to secure their 7th consecutive series victory, and it was due in large part to a 6-run 7th inning that was started by just putting the ball in play, seeing what happens. Leo Rivas with an infield single. Samad Taylor with a running bunt. He gets on. Then J.P. Crawford drives both guys in after they advance on a passed ball. On a ball that just, sneaks on by the third baseman. And from that point forward, things just unraveled for the Angels. And the final nail was put in the Angels' coffin by Rivas, who, after the Mariners batted around, got his 2nd and 3rd RBI on, guess what, an infield single. Once again, the bottom of the Mariners order comes through. It's that next man up mentality that we were talking about the other day. And we're going to talk about that and more on the Locked On Mariners postgame show. Talk to you then. Peace.
John Randy Arozarena for the Mariners, home run number 5 on the season. J.P. Crawford, 2 hits, 2 RBIs. Leo Rivas, as Ty mentioned there, bottom of the lineup, 3 hits, 3 RBIs. That's the Mariners' perspective as they improve to 6 games over 500. Your Angels right now going in the opposite direction. And the big storyline with the Angels on this one, John, Mike Trout departing early. Knee soreness. We'll see how long this lasts for Mike Trout and the Angels. Certainly not what they need right now.
Yeah, he was running down the line trying to stretch it to first base. He hurt his left knee, which is the same knee that had the meniscus tear 2 times last year. Now he ran some tests. Trout said he already felt better by the end of the game, and he plans on playing in the game against the Tigers at the Big A tomorrow night. So that's optimistic. I'll believe it when I see it, when he's back in that lineup. If he's not DHing, I'm going to be furious as an Angel fan. And look, and Ty's totally right. I think Angels coffin feels like an oxymoron, but it was true. They put the nail in the coffin. The Angels have had tons of hitting struggles, but today they got 10 hits and they couldn't deliver when it counted. In the top of the 7th, they had runners in scoring position, could have taken the lead when it was tied 3-3. They didn't do it. The Mariners answered back, had that huge 6-run inning. And despite losing Dylan Moore and Luke Raley and Victor Robles to the IL, the Mariners offense is not the problem. It's they are rolling right along with 7 straight series victories. Watch out for the Mariners because maybe this is the year they get back to where they want to be, where they were 3 years ago in 2022, making those playoffs.
And you mentioned that 6-run 6th inning for the Mariners. Reed Detmers did not record an out, gave up 5 hits, and ended up giving up 5 earned runs in relief.
Wrong guy to go to in that moment. They kept a lefty on the mound to try to keep Jorge Polanco out of this game. Wrong lefty to go to. Use your high leverage guy, Ron Washington. That's Brock Burke. You should have brought him in as a lefty if you wanted to keep Polanco on the bench.
Dodgers are rolling right now. They've won 5 in a row, 2 of those victories against the Pirates, and they complete the 3-game series sweep on Wednesday as they take the finale against the Marlins. And with the Dodgers' perspective on this one, hey, they've always got storylines. We know that. They may lead the majors in storylines, but Tony Gonsolin, back for the first time in a long time, actually picked up the win in his season debut. And with the Dodgers' perspective, we hear from Jeff Snider, our Locked On Dodgers expert.
To start these short videos with a quick one-liner, a summary of what I'm going to talk about. Problem is, this game was like 8 games in one. I have no idea what the storyline was. What's up? This is Jeff Snider from Locked On Dodgers. I guess the big storyline is Tony Gonsolin making his first start in 20 months, went 6 innings, struck out 9, looked really good, ran out of gas a little bit at the end, but overall 3 runs allowed in 6 innings. We'll absolutely take that in his first start back from injury. I'm sure the Locked On Marlins version of this video will be talking about the Marlins defense because it was bad, but the Dodgers also hit the ball really well. Would have won this game with or without the Marlins defense. Yoendrys Gomez could be a story. Gave up 5 runs in the 9th inning, trying to give the game away or at least get Tanner Scott in the game. Luckily, Kike Hernandez's defense saved him. They got the win. They win 12-7. 5-game winning streak, sweep of the Marlins, first place all by themselves. Good time to be a Dodger fan, heading into the day off and then heading to the suddenly resurgent Atlanta Braves. Be sure to check it out on Locked On Dodgers on YouTube and wherever you get podcasts.
Yeah, Jeff mentioned right there, Dodgers now a 10-game road trip, 3 in Atlanta starting Friday, then 3 in Miami against the Marlins, who they just swept, and then 4 in Arizona against the Diamondbacks. On the other side of this one for the Marlins, outscored 34-15 and getting swept in Los Angeles. Jeremiah Geiger on one of their young players who is not only putting together a strong start to this season, but he's also a big part of their future as well.
Swept the Marlins, but Kyle Stowers had himself a really good game. What's up, guys? It's Jeremiah Geiger from the Locked On Marlins podcast. I know there's no moral victories in professional sports, but in a year in which the Marlins are trying to figure out who is going to be a part of their future and their long-term plans, Kyle Stowers continues to emerge as a cornerstone piece. He went 4 for 4, 2 homers, was a triple shy of the cycle. It was an excellent game for him at the plate in an otherwise forgettable game for the Marlins. The Dodgers just outslugged Miami, plain and simple. The pitching staff for the Marlins continues to struggle. Cal Quantrill got chased in the 4th inning. His nightmare year continues. The starting pitchers for the Marlins have just been horrific outside of Max Meyer. They'll head back to Miami for a weekend series against the Athletics and the start of a new homestand where they will debut their new City Connect uniforms this weekend. I will be in attendance for all 3 games, so come say hi. Check out Locked On Marlins for more, and let's go fish.
Jeremiah, another A+ right there with his recap on the Marlins. And, yeah, those City Connects, I don't know. Middle of the road for me.
You know, the thing is when you're in Jeremiah's shoes as a Marlins fan, you got to look for the good. Like you said, Kyle Stowers, a lot of good. Max Meyer's been great this season. You know, and City Connect, something new to wear to the stadium. You can't beat that if you're a Marlins fan.
Tigers on Wednesday avoid being swept by the Astros, take the finale in Houston 7-4. John, right now we'll hear from you on the other side on this one from the Tigers' perspective, but we do get the Tigers side of this victory from Scott Bentley. He is our Locked On Tigers expert.
Detroit Tigers avoid the sweep in Houston thanks to a Javier Baez grand slam in the year 2025. I am Scott Bentley, host of Locked On Tigers, and this has been one of the bigger storylines of the season so far is Javi isn't unplayable at the plate. The last 2 years, he has been almost inarguably the worst qualified hitter in all of baseball. This year, hitting decently, right? And the one thing we haven't seen up to this point is power. He takes a grand slam into the Crawford boxes. The Tigers win 7-4. Jackson Jobe started this game. Not the best outing in the world. We'll go a little bit more in depth on tomorrow's show, but just had a hard time locating a lot of pitches, and that fastball is still ineffective even though it's 99 miles an hour. But the offense was really the big story here. Like I said, 7 runs, 4 of them from Javi. Colt Keith also hits his first home run of the year, turns on a fastball inside and takes it to the upper deck. Beautiful. Really, this team needs to get him going desperately. So hopefully that's a sign of things to come. Riley Green goes 4 for 4 on top of all that as well. So we'll talk about that and so much more tomorrow on Locked On Tigers.
John, 25 seconds on the Tigers, who again avoid the series sweep in Houston.
Yeah, and Javi Baez, who would have thought that him coming around at this point of the season would, be up there with Kyle Schwarber from that Cubs team. And, you look around the league and Anthony Rizzo's not there anymore. Chris Bryant is hurt. And so he's not playing with the Rockies right now. So maybe Javi can have himself a little Kyle Schwarber storyline this season.
His 9th career grand slam. Again, it was part of a 5-run 5th inning for the Tigers in their win against the Houston Astros. Braves, Rockies in Colorado. Braves do take the series, but the Rockies do take the finale 2-1. No run support for Chris Sale. They got to win. So with that, let's hear from Paul, Locked On Rockies.
Here we go.
Rockies avoid even more history and pick up their 5th win of the season, as the Rockies do just enough against Sale and the Atlanta Braves to avoid the sweep. Brenton Doyle breaks out of his slump with a go-ahead home run. Rockies' top prospect Chase Dollander has his best start, arguably, of the season so far. The Rockies' defense showed up, and the bullpen, which has been an underrated part of this team of late, has stepped up, and the Rockies got, their 5th win of the season. The season is still long. There's still a lot of progress to be made here. But anytime the Rockies get a win, it's a good day for us. And we'll be breaking it all down on Locked On Rockies.
There you go. Doyle with that home run off Sal in the 3rd inning, breaking the 1-1 tie. John, that broke an 0 for 20 at the plate.
Yeah, you're going to need Brenton Doyle to come through if you want any hope for this Rockies team. I'm so happy for Paul. Congrats to Paul on the 5th win. And now the Braves were hoping to be back at 500 facing Los Angeles this weekend, but this series sweep didn't happen, and so they fall just 1 game short of being back to 500.
Doyle breaking that 0 for 20 with the go-ahead home run for the Rockies as they win for just the 5th time this season, as we heard from Paul. Ryan McMahon did go 0 for 3. He's now 0 for his last 34. Cardinals in the Queen City taking 2 on Wednesday against the Reds. We're going to have details on that game and plenty more coming up in segment number 2. This is Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night. And we are presented by Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, entertainment, easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is not just a budgeting app. It is a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and you start building on your wealth. When you start using Monarch Money, you may realize just how much you're spending on food delivery. With that, you can budget smarter and save more. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch Money to check your finances, track spending, and even plan your long-term financial goals. Managing money with your partner, never smoother. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without all the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. You can use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off on your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off on your first year. All right, John, we continue right now. JD, who you're now hosting with, I'll be on with JD on Sunday. But the Cardinals taking 2 in a row and 2 from the Reds in Cincinnati. And I looked at this one and said, wow, the Cardinals, they're a horrible road team, but they just swept a pair from the Reds, a team in their own division.
Yeah, you can't complain about that. And the Cardinals certainly needed to show off and show out a little bit against a division rival in the Reds. They're back. They're still under 500, but they are inching ever closer. They want to be part of this division and they want to contend. How about we hop over to JD, who was at both games and ended up recording this one at home. So let's take it over to JD after game 2.
The St. Louis Cardinals offense picks up right where it left off after game 1 of their doubleheader with a 9-1 blowout win over the Cincinnati Reds. Hey, it's JD from Locked On Cardinals. And after their big 9th inning in game 1, the Cardinals offense just kept the pedal down against Reds rookie Chase Petty, planting 9 runs against him in the first 3 innings. That included a first inning 3-run blast off the batter's eye and center by Wilson Contreras. Second inning, Pedro Pages wears down the rookie with an 11-pitch at bat. That one ends in a solo blast to left field. Steven Matz was excellent. He throws 4 shutout innings and then was piggybacked by Gordon Graceffa, who was the 27th man on the roster for this doubleheader. He gives up 1 run over the final 5 innings to pick up his first major league win. Big day for the Cardinals offense. They scored 15 runs on 15 hits, including 6 home runs, but a tip of the cap to the pitching staff, who held the Reds offense to just 1 run over 18 innings to sweep the doubleheader in Cincinnati for the first time since 1959. For the latest updates and info, be sure to keep it Locked On Cardinals.
That's some good information right there. I mean, 1 run for the Reds. They're just going to drive Jeff, who we're going to hear from in a moment, and manager Tito Francona crazy throughout 2025. When does it click for the Reds?
I mean, you're hitting in Great American Ballpark too, so 1 run across 18 innings is no excuse.
Elevate.
Yeah, seriously. And then the Cardinals get 15 runs across those 2 games. So, like I said, they showed up and showed out. They came into Cincinnati. Maybe this is what gets them going for the rest of the season.
And as I mentioned, Jeff Carr, Locked On Reds expert, we hear from him on the doubleheader sweep on the opposite side.
Well, the Major League dream for Chase Petty turned into a nightmare very quickly. What's up? This is Jeff Carr from the Locked On Reds podcast. And the Reds got 1 run all day. Two games, 1 run. You're not going to win when you do that, and they certainly didn't. Chase Petty absolutely got beat around in his Major League debut, giving up a couple of homers. And ultimately, the Reds dropped the second game of the doubleheader 9-1. They dropped the first game 6-0. Quite frankly, I'd really like to forget about this game, or this whole day, really. You did see Matt McClain break his slump, get a hit in the second game. Spencer Steer with a couple of hits, getting on base a couple of times. Hopefully seeing them break out of some slumps. But all in all, pretty horrible day, and they did it all at home.
Do we call that the dramatic ending there? That's not a dramatic pause. That's a dramatic ending.
I was going to say dramatic ending, and it's fitting because I think Jeff is going to need some eternal sunshine of the spotless mind to get rid of this long day that he had at the ballpark watching the Reds scrape across 1 run all day long.
Dude, if it was me eating hot dogs at the ballpark compared to the Reds offense on Wednesday, I win 2-1.
There you go. Can't complain about that.
So 2 teams in the NL Central. Now we focus on 2 teams in the NL Eastern Division. And the Phillies not only pick up a win, but they pick up a little bit of ground on the Mets in the NL East. We'll discuss Mets Diamondbacks a little bit later on in segment number 3. But Phillies 7-2 victory against the Nationals. Always nice to win against a team in your division. Let's hear from Connor, our Phillies Locked On expert.
Finally, a nice, comfortable win for the Philadelphia Phillies. I'm Connor Thomas, your host of Locked On Phillies, and this is what we've been waiting for, right? It's what I talked about on the podcast earlier today. The wins have all felt like they've been nail-biters or stressful or difficult for this team. Like, nothing's felt easy. Well, tonight was easy. A lot of RBIs, 7 runs scored, 10 hits. Christopher Sanchez was solid. The bullpen was solid. I mean, really, nothing to worry about in this game, and the Phillies led wire to wire after Kyle Schwarber's first inning home run. He's hit 2 in back-to-back games, and, well, 1 in back-to-back games, but you love to see that. You love to see Max Kepler going yard. Like, a lot of production from everybody on the offensive side. Sanchez got out healthy, which is good. Ranger Suarez is coming back. Like, now the Phillies have won 4 straight, and things feel a lot different than they did just a week ago. We'll talk more on the next episode of Locked On Phillies.
There's real poise there as Connor's driving the streets of Philadelphia. I've driven the streets of Philadelphia. You don't do that.
He's like an international man of mystery. One night he's wearing like a nice shirt. Tonight he's driving around. So Connor, not only a Locked On local expert of the Phillies, Locked On Phillies podcast, but you know, he's got a mysterious life out there.
Phillies are starting to put it together.
Yeah,
they don't.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, Christopher Sanchez is, coming back from injury, about 2 weeks ago. It was looking dicey there, but you can't ask for a better start. And, of course, an easy start against the Nationals. Not that they don't have the offense, but, if you're taking on a division rival, you're going to want it to be the Nationals.
I see the Reds being better than the Nationals, but there's a theme here with a couple of teams we're talking about. There's going to be a lot of peaks and valleys. Even the Marlins, swept by the Dodgers in Los Angeles, they're going to have some peaks along the way. I think the Nationals will too, but right now, just dropping the first two of the 4-game series, or two of the first three of the 4-game series against the Phillies. We do have Nationals perspective. With that, we welcome in Ryan.
Well, if you listen to today's show, no, you didn't, because I specifically said that Jake Irvin has actually had success against Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber. That did not take long. I'm Ryan Clary from Locked On Nationals, and then Washington Nationals dropped to the Philadelphia Phillies for the second night in a row, 7-2. Jake Irvin did not have his best stuff. He's been pitching here really well as of recently, but overall just could not get the job done in Philly. He went pretty long, 6 innings pitch, but still gave up those 6 earned runs, a couple bombs. Was not his best stuff. But looking deeper into today's game, the offense did not get the job done. This has kind of been the trend as of recent. You've had some good performances, but still, you got to have James Wood get hot at the plate, and that's probably your best chance of winning, because other than that, it's not looking great. But stay tuned to Locked On Nationals.
Again, they're going to be a team that breaks your heart one week. The next week, you think they're going to be in contention for the pennant at the during the month of September.
Yeah, and you think about Jake Irvin last time out, 7 1/3 innings pitched against the Mets, and he doesn't get the win in the decision, but he does get his team the win in that one. So it was a tough test for him against the Phillies, and unfortunately wasn't able to come through for the Nationals.
Cubs, a 1-run victory against the Pirates in Pittsburgh on Wednesday. Day baseball at PNC. From the Cubs side, let's hear from Sam, our Locked On Cubs expert.
Sometimes you have to figure out a way to win games when your big boppers don't hit and you have a low-scoring game, and the Cubs did not do that on Wednesday night. I'm Sam Olber from Locked On Cubs. Cubs got beat 4-3 today in Pittsburgh, what was a bad loss, but the game was secondary to what went on during the game. A fan tragically fell from the right field bleachers, and the game was paused for a really long time. So best wishes to that fan and their family. As far as the game goes, it really came down to defense today. John Birdie made a big error in the 7th inning, opened up the floodgates, and then Dansby Swanson kicked the ball into short right center field on a ball he probably should have kept on the infield that scored 2 runs. Those guys aren't on base without John Birdie's error. It was a 1-run lead for the Cubs, 3-2 at that time. They ended up losing 4-3 after that. Just an overall tough night in Pittsburgh, both on and off the field, and best wishes again to everybody affected by what happened in Pittsburgh. The Cubs will try and get back on the horse tomorrow. Check out Locked On Cubs tonight to talk more about this frustrating evening.
And I do apologize. That is my error right there. I had the wrong score there for that one. And yeah, I saw the video of that, and that's one I didn't want to watch a second or third time. The Pirates did put out a release on the man who fell from the stands in right field, but it's one, if you haven't seen it, I encourage you not even to seek it out.
Yeah, not even worth looking at that. Just know that you want to send some good thoughts, good prayers, good vibes to everybody affected by that.
Let's hear from Gary. He does have the winning perspective on the Buccos' victory on Wednesday.
There's still a glass ceiling for Carmen Mlodzinski as it comes to being a starter in this league. But the Pirates come away with a 4-3 victory against the Chicago Cubs. They really, really needed. Hi, I'm Gary from Locked On Pirates. Yeah, Carmen Mlodzinski, it's his 6th start now, officially start. I mean, he did some openings last year. They're giving him a trial run. Again, he struggles to get even through the 5th inning. It seems to be really proven out at this point. The kid's really good one time through an order, and then after that, you got to be done with it. No shame in that. In fact, the bullpen really needs that component brought back in after the injury to Justin Lawrence. So it would be a wise move. The offense did just enough tonight. Brian Reynolds, couple hits on the score sheet, really needed those from him. He's been struggling badly. And O'Neal Cruz continues to tick up the top of the order. He's doing a good job. Andrew McCutchen continues to fuel things. Joey Bart did some nice things tonight. Valdez off the bench again. Even Matt Gorski contributed tonight, couple base hits. Good to see from everybody, really. Tommy Pham, there's another experiment that needs to end. Let's go Bucks. Talking about all this tomorrow on Locked On Pirates.
Not sure how many landing spots Tommy Pham would have left if somehow the Pirates parted ways with him. Let's wrap up, John. Segment number 2, Padres 5-3 victory against the Giants. Sort of righting the ship, and I think sending a message a little bit, winning against the Giants, taking both games in a division matchup and a division rivalry.
Yeah, they had dropped 4 in a row before this 2-game set against the Giants. So the Padres trying to find their way back while, the Dodgers are beating up on the Marlins. The Padres and Giants are duking it out for the NL West. Let's go to Ben from Locked On Giants. He's our local expert with his analysis from the Giants side.
The Giants will leave San Diego without a win, but on the bright side, they've got the Colorado Rockies next, coming in for 4. This is Ben Kaspick with the Locked On Giants podcast. The Padres bullpen was just too much for the Giants to handle. They kind of did their usual thing and they fell behind and made little comeback efforts, and they did put pressure on the Padres in both of these games in an attempt to come back. But the Padres lead the majors in bullpen ERA by a significant margin. The Giants are second. And ultimately, even though they gave themselves chances, the Giants were just unable to push through and take a lead late in the game. And so it's a 2-game series. You lose them both, you move on. And now, like I said, the Colorado Rockies, the worst record in baseball, coming into your ballpark for 4 games. So that's a series the Giants will need to take advantage of. And then they head back out on the road and face some more good teams. So big 4-game series coming up. We'll break down these 2 losses in San Diego on the next Locked On Giants, where it's your team every day.
Michael King picking up the victory for the Padres Wednesday, 4-1, ERA now 2.09, and Robert Suarez, 2 strikeouts and working a scoreless 9th inning, picking up to save his major league best 12th on the season. I will say it, horrible loss for the Red Sox north of the border against the Blue Jays on Wednesday. As bad as the loss was for the Red Sox, that good of a win for the Toronto Blue Jays. We'll discuss that next.
Hey, today's show is brought to you by our friends at Wonderful Pistachios. Baseball season is here. Of course, we're a month in. The best snack to bring with you to the game is Wonderful Pistachios. It's a snack that's both delicious and nutritious, filled with a good source of protein. Each 1-ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to keep you going all day long. If you're like me, and you just want to eat them by the handful, you can pick up the no-shells variety. It's the perfect grab-and-go snack for busy days. But also, if you're like me, you can get the in-shell variety. I'm a fidgeter, and so when I'm nervously watching my Angels get creamed by the Mariners, I can crack open some shells and some pistachios and enjoy that satisfying crunch. Get snacking and get cracking with a snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more.
All right, I really don't want to spend a lot of time on this one, but the Red Sox did have a 6-0 lead, John, with Lucas Giolito on the mound. He gives up a couple of home runs in the 6th inning. Garrett Whitlock gives up a 3-run home run to Anthony Santander in the 7th inning, game tied at 6. Red Sox bats, 6-0 lead, goes silent. Giolito picks up a no decision, and then Alejandro Kirk, who had a home run in that 6th inning against Giolito, walks it off in the bottom half of the 10th inning. I think this propels the Blue Jays to a good, maybe week, 2-week stretch going forward.
Yeah, they're going to need it because their offense has been pretty cold lately, and so for them to get this win late in the game over a division rival, much needed and an extra, so they were able to get that done.
Another division matchup and rivals, you could say Twins and Guardians, Minnesota, Cleveland, and Guardians on Wednesday coming away with the victory. And we'll get reaction from the Guardians side with Justin.
In Cleveland is if you don't like the weather, wait 10 minutes. The same is true of the Cleveland Guardians pitching staff in 2025. What's up? This is Justin Latta from Locked On Guardians. 2 days removed from position players pitching in back-to-back games for the Cleveland Guardians. They've gotten 2 of their best starts in the starting pitching rotation all year. 2 wins, very important games. Luis Ortiz stepped up for the Guardians in this one. He threw first pitch strikes to 16 of 23 batters he faced. We've been telling you all year Luis Ortiz has the stuff. He has the potential. He's nasty. He can dominate. But he's been erratic. He has been the wild thing this year. He put it all together in the start against the Twins. He threw strikes. He was dominant. Maybe his best performance from beginning to end in this one. The Guardians absolutely needed it because they like to play a thing called guards ball where they score runs in weird ways. It was Carlos Santana's speed, apparently, that cost the Twins a game. He legged out a infield hit, caused an error, which allowed Jose Ramirez to score. Santana ends up stealing second base. Bo Naylor comes through with a home run. Boom, the Guardians win 2 in a row. A couple of days after not looking like a great team, they're back on track. They've stopped the hot Minnesota Twins, and they've got a chance to win 3 or 4 on Thursday. Tune into Locked On Guardians for more of that.
Great stuff right there. The Guardians, they're going to be in the top of the division, but you've got to win games in your division, and they're doing that right now against Minnesota.
Yeah, especially the way Minnesota was rolling into Cleveland. And the fact is that they had all the momentum in the world, and they just stalled out against the Cleveland Guardians.
A's took care of business, winning 7-1 against the Rangers, winning on the road. The Rangers, a great home record. Luis Severino, 8 hits allowed, 1 earned run, a walk, 4 strikeouts over his 5 innings. Evaldi going for the Rangers, giving up just 1 earned run as well in that inning. And Luke Jackson taking the brunt of it late in this one against the Athletics.
Yeah, especially when things fell apart for him. The bases were loaded. At that point, Brent Rooker had put the A's ahead 3-1, but then it just blew open with a Lawrence Butler grand slam from Sean Armstrong. So that made it 7-1, and that's the final we had in Arlington.
Go to the Royals and the Rays, and Kansas City blanking the Rays 3-0. Major League debut from Noah Cameron. We have more on that debut from Jack, who covers the Royals for Locked On.
What an impressive Major League debut for Noah Cameron tonight as he takes a no-hit bid into the 7th inning and a 3-0 win for the Royals over Tampa Bay, and they take the series at George M. Steinbrenner Field. I am the host of Locked On Royals, Jack Johnson, and you can always check out our episodes every single day on wherever you get your podcast. Now, for tonight's game, the easy takeaway is that they've got another stable arm for the rotation that you can look forward to seeing later on in the year. Not sure if Noah Cameron's going to stick when Cole Reagans comes back, but you got to feel pretty good after tonight with what he was able to show against a hot Rays team. Again, he loses no-hit bid in the 7th inning, did walk 5, but the pitch count was low pretty much all night long. He had good command of the fastball. His slider had good spin to it. And man, you talk about a bright career maybe forming right here in Kansas City for the left-handed arm. The 7th round pick, by the way, in Noah Cameron. Offensively, again, just enough. You've heard me say that so many times. But the Royals finished the month of April with a winning record and will try to go for a sweep tomorrow afternoon in Tampa.
And Bobby Witt did extend his hit streak to 21 straight games. White Sox, Brewers. Brewers get on track. Win the first 2 games of that series. Win on Wednesday, 6-4. John, final 2 that we get to. Diamondbacks able to hold on against the Mets. Corbin Burns his first win with Arizona.
Yeah, that's what they paid him the big bucks for. And so he finally earns that one. 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 earned run off a Mark Viento solo homer, 5 walks, but 3 strikeouts. So he's able to dance around a little bit of traffic, moves to 1-1 on the year. His 6th game of the season, and only the 2nd time he factored into a decision today, a winning decision.
And let's close with the Orioles and Yankees. Big series win for the Orioles. The bench is cleared in this one. Why, I have no idea, but that's okay. Heston Kjerstad took exception to stealing second and having a middle infielder jump on top of him. But this could, like the Blue Jays, I think this possibly could give positive momentum going forward for the O's.
Yeah, they're now 12-18. They're still at the bottom of the AL East. But they got a ways to climb up, like you said. But to take 2 or 3 from the first place Yankees and doing it the way that they did, I know that yesterday was a blowout game. The Yankees making history with back-to-back-to-back home runs to start a game for the 2nd time this season. And so, you turn the page on that one, and here you go. The Orioles take the series in this rubber match, and so they're turning the corner here, and hopefully they can get back into this AL East division.
Hey, that is a wrap for us. Be sure to tell your friends all about us. Subscribe to the Locked On MLB YouTube channel. Subscribe and give us a 5 for 5 rating on our audio podcast version as well. MLB Game Night, part of the Locked On Sports Network. Every game, every night, available wherever you get your podcasts.